hop on your phones, find the stream, and share it. That's what I'm gonna do right now.
I'm gonna start recording.
Are you Matt Early?
Yeah. So I don't.
Where is everybody? Nobody's watching.
Because nobody cares.
Might Be Brews.
Everybody's too busy commenting on my status about Santa Claus versus Jesus.
Yeah, I never would have thought of that. Your whole theory behind it was hilarious. Like,
we were like straight up arguing.
Jesus can't help you unless you accept him in your heart.
You have to accept him in your heart. Like, other than that,
anywhere,
like literally worthless.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, oh my God.
Hey, anybody that's watching, type in the comments, say hi, let us know you're here. We'd love to give you a shout out. If you can, make sure you follow us, like the page, share it online. I'm hopping on to Facebook right now so I can share this, John, and then give us like just a couple minutes to spread this out, and we will get going. John, do you use Facebook? Because like, I feel like I hopped on there and like you hadn't posted since like 2015.
Yeah,
like, I guess he uses Instagram.
Yeah. I get on Facebook maybe, I don't know, a couple times a month to do some 5-minute scrolling, but I'm not really on there heavy or anything. Yeah.
Are you much of a social media guy? I mean, do you stay in the loop with things on Instagram and stuff, or are you kind of
I stare at Instagram constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, can't get off it. Same with Twitter, but I don't post a lot, you know.
Everybody's on Twitter, man. I wish that I knew how to use it properly.
I click on it in the morning to see if there's any like headlines going on, anything I need to worry about, you know, doom scrolling.
Twitter gets easier.
Right.
It gets easier.
I got to play with it some more.
Everything's shorter. So it doesn't like work out for me all the time because I like to ramble.
Right.
It works for like if you're just trying to dip in, dip out, see like the people that you're like, you know, interested in looking at. It's easy to find what you're looking for on Twitter.
Right.
It's nice. It's a little like leaner, I guess, than Facebook is.
Cleaner?
Like lean. It's like not as much.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like a little less hectic. I don't know. Slightly less like silly animal videos. It's just like I feel like it's a little bit more like I don't know, straight to business.
There's like less boomer bullshit on Twitter.
Yeah. Depending on where you look.
All right, I think I'm just about done. We got a decent amount of people in. We're going to get this thing started. I'm using some different headphones.
There's no staring in my headphones.
Hey, Sean, what up, dude?
I don't see any chat. Oh, I'm in private chat. Dummy.
Rookie mistake.
Right?
Ooh, AP News update.
I just saw that. Yeah.
What is it?
AP declares Joe Biden the winner of Georgia.
I thought we were done. All right, man. When you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get some music and get this thing going.
The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
Woo! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Might Be Brews, episode 44, the podcast where we explore the people, places, and brews of the craft beer world. My name is John. With me, as always, Mr. Steve. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, everybody? I'm thirsty.
Thirsty Thursday. The man behind the board, my brother Taylor. How you doing, sir?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Happy
right.
Thursday/Friday. What's going on?
Happy Thursday and Friday if you're listening on the podcast. But listen, guys, make sure you check out the brand new mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your new favorite podcast. Also, help us make the show bigger and better by becoming a patron on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/MBN Network. $5 a month helps us get better equipment and exclusive network content for you. And also shout out to our sponsors, Eunomia CBD. Go to eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN for 20% off and free stuff. That's EUNOMIACBD.com. Check it out today. We've got a very special guest with us today, Mr. John Harahan, formerly of Victory, formerly of Surly, currently with Port City Brewing. John, thank you for joining us. How you doing tonight?
Hey, happy to be here, man.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. You sound fantastic right now.
Oh, great. Glad to hear it.
That sounds good. So, John, I want to start talking to you while we got you. Tell us what's new and exciting with Port City. Is anything cool going on? And what are you guys doing in the Virginia area, getting things going?
Right. So, obviously, COVID put a big damper on everything. But we started doing, some outdoor seating. We bought space heaters like months ago, just getting ready for the winter. So we got all new lighting, a whole new outdoor space. We never did outdoor seating before, so got this whole nice setup with these bright lights. It makes it look like it's daylight. And
Right.
with regards to the beers, we're dropping. We just came out with the Tmave Pivo, which I'm drinking now. It's a dark Czech lager.
Yeah, it looks dark.
Yeah, it's real smooth, real easy drinking, full of flavor. Really, really nice beer. And we're coming out with a Black is Beautiful beer, which I'm sure you guys have seen. A lot of breweries have been coming out with that.
Mm-hmm.
All the proceeds are going to charity. And that's a beer we're really proud of. We just dropped our Colossal 9, which is a Weizenbach. For those of you guys who've been around Victory for a while, it's like their old Moonglow. I don't know if they even make Moonglow anymore, but
No, and the people are quite angry about it. Every time they announce a beer, there's like, "Where's Moonglow? We want Moonglow."
If you can't find Moonglow, come down to Port City. We got Colossal 9. It's just as good, if not better, than Moonglow. I put up against Moonglow any day.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What does this mean? Anybody have any idea, John? I feel like that might be.
So that's Tmave. Yeah. So that's how you pronounce Tmave Pivo. That's how you spell Tmave Pivo. So
okay,
that word right there is there's supposed to be a little accent on it. The first time I ever ordered a Tmave, I was living in Minnesota, and I was like, "Hey, can I get the T-Mave?" And the guy's like, "You mean Tmave?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, Tmave, yeah." Which is just, I think it's the Czech word. Pivo's the word for beer, and it's just dark beer. So,
all right. So I have a question right off the bat. You talking about Czech lagers? I seem to like those a little bit better in general. I feel like, is it a Czech Pilsner?
Sure.
I don't know if there's a difference, but I mean, I know like the one that Victory has, I seem to like a lot. What's the difference and what makes it a Czech, and why would you think that I might like it more than like a traditional Pilsner or lager?
So, I mean, I guess, big picture, lager is just a category of beer. You got ales and lagers, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a million different types of styles of lager, just like there's a zillion different types of styles of ale. So with the Czech Pilsner, it's almost identical to a German Pilsner. The only difference is they use Czech hops instead of German hops.
Okay.
I think Prima Pils is a German Pilsner. Mm-hmm. But they're pretty close in style. The Pilsner that we pour year round is Downright Pilsner. It's a Czech style Pilsner, so it uses Czech hops. But once a year we make a German style Pilsner. Last year it won a gold medal at GABF, so that was cool.
Yep.
And we just had GABF a month or so ago,
Yeah.
and we
How'd you
won.
guys do?
What's that?
How did you guys do? Did you guys
Yeah,
medal or anything?
Yeah, we got a bronze medal for our Oktoberfest.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's
you have
exciting.
you have about a 3% chance of medaling in any category. So to win even a single medal is awesome. So got that Oktoberfest bronze. So yeah.
That's interesting statistics. I always wonder, there's got to be a ton of breweries that submit to GABF. And, everybody that watches the show probably knows that, like, I feel like it's a recent discovery. Like, I really didn't know much about Marzens and Oktoberfest beers, and it just became something that's, like, really on my radar this season.
Right.
Where I was like, all right, tell me about them, teach me about them. And and they've been fantastic. And I've been trying them like crazy and drinking them, and they've become like a new favorite style of mine. So that's super exciting to me personally.
Right.
You guys medaled on that. I got to try that.
Yeah, it's it's true to style. That's why we won that medal.
That's how you win, right?
Right.
Tell me about the Black is Beautiful, because I know there's a base beer, and we actually were lucky enough to have Marcus from Weathered Souls on the show when he was pushing that campaign out.
Yeah,
and it was really cool to learn about. And I know that there was a base recipe put out, but they were, people were putting different spins on it. What do you think you guys might have done differently compared to the base beer that you guys, put your own spin on?
Right. So one of our favorite beers to make is a Russian Imperial Stout. So we kind of took that idea of a big, bold black beer, and we wanted to kind of reflect just that style of beer. Just really, goes well with the recipe that they put out. So we were kind of that's kind of our little spin on it.
I've seen ABVs all over the place. I'm excited to see one that's like a heavier ABV.
Yeah, ours is going to come in at about 11%.
Nice.
So,
that's my kind of stout.
Yeah, we should do the job.
When are you guys releasing?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. We are packaging it next week. The actual release date I'm not sure on, but it should be soon.
It's definitely stout time. All the stouts are definitely starting to come out. I think
Yeah.
Taylor cracked open a stout. What stout did you go with there, Taylor?
I am drinking the Lancaster Brewing Company Milk Stout, and it's not terrible.
Yeah,
it's not terrible.
It's an OG, man. We were saying before the show that I used to take 76 out toward Lancaster all the time for work, and you would see the Lancaster Milk Stout. They have billboards, man, when you're getting out there toward Amish country, man.
It's 5% alcohol by volume. It's good. Like I don't mean it's not terrible. It isn't terrible, but I'm new to the stout game. Like I've had some. I don't understand like some of the ones that people say are super chocolatey. It blows my mind because I don't understand that. It doesn't hit my palate that way at all. It just like totally misses me as far as like, some of the flavors I feel like some people get out of stouts. But yeah, like that one right there, I think is. Did I try that?
Might get into that. Yeah, this is the one that you had at my house, and I'm like, this thing tastes like pure fudge, and it just didn't hit you that way.
I was like, that's impossible to me. That you can take that away from like drinking that. It just doesn't add up to me. But it's okay. This is a good beer. I would drink it again. I got like a mixed 6-pack tonight. You guys would have been proud of me.
That's awesome.
One.
Right?
I stood. I was up there at the wall, and I was just like, woo! I was like, Wegmans, they make it easy. Shout out to Wegmans. We talked a couple episodes ago. Yeah. I said
Dre.
I said, yeah. Shout out to Dre. I said that beer distributors should make it a little easier as far as like separating the styles of beer, and Wegmans, the create your own 6-pack, does that perfectly. It says right on the shelf, here's Pilsners, here's IPAs, here's sours, here's seasonal or whatever. spiced, I think, was one, and and then obviously towards the bottom there's the stout. So it was like I was in and out. I knew what I was looking for. I got 2 different stouts and 4 different sours, and it was awesome. I hadn't been in there in a while, so I'm living a little closer to it now, I guess. And I don't know, we were just in there, and
That's awesome.
worked out perfect. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I don't know. They do a fantastic job. That's such a good place because not only do they keep a great selection and they do a good job buying beer, they also have great prices.
It changed.
We all know some of those places around us that can get a little pricey, and some of the stuff, these 4-packs and bottles or whatever get a little bit pricey, but they always keep it, right in line where it should be.
It was like $11 and some change for this 6-pack, and that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great, but it did change a lot, and I don't know. The place where they had the beer before looked like a bunch of lockers or something now for like beer pickup or something. I don't know. I felt like it was different big time and I haven't been in there, and I'm talking like at least a year, maybe 2. So like chances are it has changed substantially, but I don't know. I felt like I didn't see a lot of stuff like 6-packs, 4-packs, whatever. I didn't see what I was, kind of thought that I was going to see there. And maybe I just walked right past it. I don't know. But the creative 6-pack wall was fantastic. So
that's awesome.
Well, I can't say.
I think Devin might have gotten in my head a little bit, but like I remember I got a bunch of stouts from Treehouse, and I was like, man, this one's not great. It's okay. I get some of these flavors that they're talking about. It's not great. It's not great. And then I realized they were all milk stouts. And I said something about it, and Devin was like, yo, I fucking hate milk stouts. And I'm like, man, I think I might too. But everybody knows we've said it 100 times on the show that like I like motor oil. Like when I'm drinking a stout, I want it to be thick. I want lots of mouthfeel. I want bold flavors, balanced, all that stuff. And it just milk stouts for some reason, for the most part, don't seem to do it for me. I need imperial, like we talked about the other day, the Underground Mountain, Sumatra Mountain. That one's a brown ale, but it's an imperial brown ale. It's very bold, very heavy mouthfeel to me, and I like that a lot. So that's more my style. I guess I'm not a milk stout guy. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I think it's my first one. I don't know if I've ever had a milk stout.
I'd be surprised, man. We've done 44 episodes, bro.
Yeah. Thank you for counting that, by the way.
I recounted 3 times because I counted all the episodes that we did, but we were under lockdown and quarantine stuff. So I counted the live streams too, but then I had to be careful that like I didn't do the short 10-minute John. So like I had to subtract some, and then I went back and recounted, and I was like, all right, I think we've done 40. This is our 44th individual hour or longer session.
Well, I just wrote it down. That's officially the title of this episode. So
all right, that's what we're going to do.
Hey, I tried looking at your playlist, and I think it was like off by 1, and I have to find it. It might be.
There was 28 on the playlist, but then I went back and counted some of the others. But look, we got another guest here that's going to hop on. Let me bring him into the chat here to the live stream. Ryan from Fueled by Hops. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good.
Absolutely. Ryan, I know you have limited time, but I wanted to get you on and talk to you because I saw that you are doing a online beer festival.
Yes, sir.
I guess online can be anywhere, but it's got a little bit of a Pittsburgh theme with Cheers Yinz Beer Fest. So if you got a minute, why don't you tell us about it and how you're doing it and what's the whole deal behind it?
Yeah. First of all,
it just doesn't sound right when you say Cheers Yinz. It just doesn't come out.
I can't say it right. Those
Ryan,
are words I don't say.
It's a Pittsburgh thing, boy.
I hear it wrong, but I can't tell him why it's wrong.
Yeah, the funny thing about it is like most people in Pittsburgh actually say Yinz, but for whatever reason, anytime we like spell it out, we say Yinz, and like very few people say Yinz. It's more Yinz, but that's No, first of all, I got to start off by announcing what I'm drinking, because that's how we do it on our podcast. So I got to do it here. Drinking the Balmer Peak, the Equilibrium Trillium collab. It's a triple. Today is Tip of Thursday, and Fueled by Hops. I only drink triples on Thursdays. So
Nice.
catch me. I'm already halfway down. By the time I get to the end of this, probably be slurring a little bit. So I'll get all the details out. No, so we've had a few beer festivals lined up, and the first one we were going to do was March 14th of this year. And as you know, COVID roared its like ugly head up March 12th, and we had to cancel that festival. Unfortunately, we had to postpone it until November 21st, which is 2 days from now. Well, back in like August, we were like, okay, there's no way we're going to be able to do a beer festival in person on November 21st. So we pushed it back again until July 17th of next year. So hopefully we can do it then. Fingers crossed that all works out. But, we started talking, and I was hanging out with a lot of brewers, and every one of them told me the same thing. They're like, we're super worried about how the winter is going to impact their brewery. Everybody was surviving through COVID because they had outdoor seating. But once the cold weather comes here in Pittsburgh, that outdoor seating goes away suddenly. Now you have limited capacity in your tap room. You can't have as many people in there. So everybody was like super worried about how they were gonna get through the winter and the cold months. So I said, you know what? Let's just do a beer festival, since we're not meant obviously to make money in beer festivals. Let's do a beer festival to help raise money for these breweries that have been impacted. And that's where the idea for the Cheers Yinz Fest came from. It was, let's put on a beer festival, let's raise a bunch of money, and let's give it all back to these breweries, help them out at this point in time, help them get through the winter, put a couple of bucks in their pocket, do whatever we can to tell people to go out there and support their local craft breweries. So that was the birth of the Cheers Yinz Fest. So that's going to be coming up this Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. We're putting that one on.
So how do people, first off, that's awesome, because I don't know if enough was done to, help support local beers, local craft breweries. So that's really cool that you were able to put together an initiative like that to help support the ones that don't have the right model or can't really, get the product to consumers the way that I'm sure they would like. But how can people participate? And once they get into it, what can they expect as far as content and involvement?
Yeah. So what we did was we wanted to make this kind of a festival with a conference vibe, so to speak. So how we work this is we got a series of keynote speakers. Right now we have 3 keynote speakers, the first of which is Julia Hers. She was formerly with the Brewers Association. She actually got laid off from the Brewers Association because of COVID. Sure. She's been touted as like the king, or the face of craft beer. I didn't say king. Sorry, Julia. Okay. She's been touted as the face of craft beer, and literally been touted as the reason why craft beer has exploded so much over the last 10 years because of the work that she was doing at the Brewers Association. So she's like super like on the up and up in the industry. So we're going to bring her out. She's going to talk a little bit about the current state of the industry, which I think is going to be really good. We also, and she fits like the mold of like the whole festival vibe. Like she was actually impacted by COVID-19. So, it like kind of fits in there perfectly. But Barb Baker, she is the Siren of Stout is what she refers to herself as. She's the VP of Fermenta. And Barb is doing a lot of work right now to help kind of like bring women into craft beer, which I think is really, really cool. So she's going to go on after Julia, and then following her is going to be a diversity and inclusion council from our local Pittsburgh Brewery Diversity Council, which I actually just got off a meeting with just a few minutes ago. We're going to have these like kind of keynote speakers, and then we're going to break into a series of breakout sessions. And we have a track of sessions for industry people. So we got, a hop farm in there. We have a malt guy in there. We have an attorney who's going to talk about like legal issues that breweries face. So we're going to have a bunch of programming for brewery people. And then we're also going to have a track of programming for craft beer people. So we're going to have these 30-minute sessions that go on for about 2 hours. And we're going to, have an art show. Collective Arts as a street artist coming from Philadelphia. And they're going to, she's going to talk about doing some street art. We're going to have a food and beer pairing and like all these different rooms that people can go into. There's going to be some cool sessions that everybody can check out for those 2 hours. Then we're going to wrap things up with a musical performance. The band was supposed to be a band called Fuck Yeah Dinosaurs from Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh has a stay-at-home order right now, like just went into effect today, or goes into effect tomorrow, I should say. They announced it yesterday. So the band can't leave their house to get together and all play the show. So we now have a gentleman from Minnesota who's going to come in and do like a one-man band deal. But it's going to be 4 hours of craft beer programming. While all these sessions are going on, we have 25 breweries that are going to be in what we call our expo center. And you're going to be able to go in there and meet and greet these breweries. So they're going to be in 4 different time slots. We have like 7 or 8 breweries per time slot, but we have big breweries, small breweries. We have a Vitamin C is one of the breweries that's going to be in attendance. So you're going to be able to actually go in there, talk to Dino, Vitamin C, ask him questions. Collective Arts is going to be there. Tattered Flag is going to be there. Locally in Pittsburgh, we have Hitchhiker, we have Inner Groove, all kinds of great breweries from this area, but you'll be able to go in there, interact with them, talk to them. And we're really trying to bring that, like, kind of that festival vibe, where you can like walk up to the booth and talk to somebody, trying to do that same deal, but kind of in a virtual setting. So you'll actually be able to go in there, talk to the brewers and hang out with them and chit chat with them, and then break out of there and go and, hang out with some sessions or watch some music. And we're also going to have a hip hop show, like a hip hop room. My buddy Lennox from Atlanta is going to basically just sit in this room all day and like play music and hang out. But he's going to do it live from the Nappy Roots Brewery in Atlanta.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really a cool dynamic. So we just got a lot of stuff going on. It's going to be a great day. Tickets start at $10. You can't really beat it. For $25, we'll give you a festival glass. And then if you want to be extra generous, pay $50 for your ticket. We'll give you a glass. We'll throw an extra $25 towards the breweries. But I mean, the most important thing about this festival is all the money that we raise through tickets and all the money that we raise through sponsorships. We're giving that all back to the breweries. Like, we're just taking it and dividing it amongst the breweries that participate. A lot of the breweries are refusing the money right now. So like the bigger breweries, we won't name them, but the bigger breweries are obviously in a better financial space. They said, hey, we don't want the money. Give it to the smaller guys who need it more than us. So it's creating this cool dynamic where we're going to make sure that the money makes its way to the breweries that need it the most. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the most important piece of this whole thing. So 4 hours of great programming for as little as $10. Can't beat the deal. And what else are you going to do, right?
Right.
It's Saturday. What else are you going to do?
That's fantastic. I would encourage anybody that's listening or watching, go on Facebook, look up Fueled by Hops. It's a fantastic community of beer people. You can obviously, that's where this whole project was born. But it's a great group of people that you should definitely check out and be a part of, because you guys have all kinds of exciting things. What do you call it? Fueled Fit?
Yeah, we got Fueled by Fitness. So if you're if you want to get into shape, which I'm certainly not, but we do a 90-day fitness challenge called Fueled by Fitness. And if you finish the 90 days of exercise, we'll send you a glass, which is we actually just sent out the first ones today, so they just started landing there. But we have a cool glass that you'll get just for finishing the challenge. We have that. We have the podcast. We have the blog. We got all kinds of irons in the fire, man. We're all over the board. So
it's
fun.
great content. You guys do fantastic. And
yeah, man, I appreciate that.
That's awesome. I really encourage anybody to check them out too. Make sure you guys follow them and join the group.
Yep. But cheersyinzfest.com. So cheersyinzfest.com. If you want to see everything that's happening that day, all the speakers, all the breweries that are going to be there, all that good stuff, and you can grab your tickets right there at that website.
That's awesome. I'll make sure we share it and throw it on the social media too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate that.
You better spell it again for the southeastern PAers.
Yeah. So Cheers, YINZ Fest.com. So Yinz, it's in Pittsburgh. What's kind of funny about the whole story is when I first started Fueled by Hops, when I would like address the group, I would say like, cheers guys. And this girl who was in a group, she was like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't say cheers, guys, because it could be like offensive to women." And I was like, yeah, you're right. I need like a unisex term that I can use. So I just started saying cheers yins, because I was just like, yins is like,
Y'all.
it can go either direction. So I started saying cheers yins, and it just caught on. And everybody, at Fueled by Hops, people post beers and they're like, "Hey, I'm drinking this beer. What's everybody up to tonight? Cheers yins," And it's just become a thing in the group, and we just ran with it. And now we have merch and everything else.
Shirts and glasses, and
Yeah,
I've
shirts
seen it.
and
I've seen the
glasses.
posts. Absolutely.
Yeah, so now we have a whole festival about it. So it's just become like our thing, which is awesome.
That's awesome, man. Because I love what I hope. As much fun as this podcast is, what I hope it really does is I like to learn things, because I just love craft beer, and everybody that I've met that's involved has been amazing. And I love learning things and finding new experiences involved in beer. But I hope that in turn we can educate people and help promote the industry and get more people interested in craft beer. That's kind of like our goal in the background, right? But one step further, I feel like, you've already accomplished being able to turn this little thing that we do, where we're just like, we're not in brewing, but we're part of the industry, kind of, where we're trying to help promote, we're trying to get, people's names out there and be involved. You guys took it one step further and helped take this thing that we're doing and give back to the brewers and to the industry that helps give us content that does everything for us that we enjoy so much. So man, just hats off to you. You're doing
Appreciate
fantastic, and I think that's such a great thing to be doing.
Yeah, we got to support the breweries, because like, what the hell else am I going to do on a Saturday? You know what I mean? If the breweries aren't there, like,
Exactly.
I don't remember what life looked like before craft breweries on the weekends. Like, it's kind of boring. What are we going to do? Cut the grass? Like, no.
Good call.
I'm going to get drunk, man. That's what I do.
That is crazy, man, to think about. Like when we go out to dinner, my wife and I, or wherever we are, like we just always tend to lean toward places that have a good craft beer selection, if not a brewery to begin with. So like, I don't know, it's hard to believe, like, what did we do before? We used to be like, Red Robin or Applebee's, and now it's like
crazy.
all of these fantastic places that do great food, but also beer. I don't know.
I hate it, because all the breweries in Pittsburgh open up at noon, so we go there at noon, and then we drink till 4, and then I come home at 5 and I pass out. She's like, "Damn it!" But
that was my thing, man. I loved getting to breweries at lunchtime, like Thursdays and Fridays. If I could, I would try. Even on weekends, I would try to get to a brewery early, because like when it's really packed, it's usually too crazy for my style, unless like we're planning on going out with buddies and having a drinking night. But I don't know, man. I just always like getting to places early. It's a little bit slower. You get to chat with somebody, a little bit more intimately. You talk to the people behind behind the bar that can tell you more about the beer or what's going on. I don't know, man. That's my scene.
Yeah, I love it. I love Friday afternoon, like leaving work early, grabbing a beer, just cooling out and into the weekend, man. It's the best, absolute best. I just love the industry, man. I met so many great people. Like I honestly, I never would have met you, John. Like if it wasn't for this, like it's just all my friends are craft beer people. Like they're all in this crazy world. Like it's just who I am now. This is my identity, and it's a great industry. It's full of great people, and I just love being a part of it. So any chance we have to support it and give back to it, man, we're gonna do it.
That's the way to be, man. Beer people are the best people. That's what I always say.
They are. They absolutely are, man. Well, some of them anyway. Maybe not Mr. Steve.
Most of them, a good majority. A good.
I've got an article later. I've got an article.
Solid 58%.
I've got a news article later about a brewery owner that got arrested for some crazy.
Dude, I saw that.
Stuff. Yeah. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Ryan, you got to run? Or are you going to hang out for a minute?
I got to hang out for a minute, man.
All right. We never got into it. I'd love to go around the room. Taylor said what he's drinking. Ryan, you said what you were drinking, but let's go around the room and I will start with Mr. Steve. What do you got going on there?
I got the Bitburger, the triple hopped lager from Sierra Nevada, which is it's one of the more complex lagers I've had in a while. Like the hop notes, there's a lot to digest. Like you can taste it one time and feel lagery and crispness, and then another time you get a really nice hop wave to it. It's really tasty and it's really, really good.
Yeah, I've somebody brought that up. It might have been Seth, I feel like.
I thought it was Devin, but
yeah, maybe Devin. Somebody brought it up, and I've been excited to try it, but I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been looking right, but I haven't seen it.
I got one for you if you ever come back to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I can now.
I was
I
going
might
to
just have to
comment.
say-
Like, it looks like your equipment looks a lot different. Like, it looks like you upgraded since the last time I was on the show here.
Well, my brother Taylor made sure that everybody got some decent recording equipment so that we don't have to do the headphone thing, with just a plugged in. We've all got some microphones. I'm still looking to upgrade a little bit, man, because
Some remote mics. That's what we need in 2020. Apparently, everybody's got to be. We got to do the best we can. It sounds a lot better this week in the past couple weeks than it did in the beginning of our season or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks good. Sounds good.
I think I still need like a little bit more of an upgrade because I'm a heavy breather and I can hear that shit when we play the podcast back. So I need a noise gate or something.
Gotta get you a noise gate. Yep.
Yeah. So
Gotta get
we'll
you
see.
one and co-host Kev, because co-host Kev just grabs the mic and he's just like.
Shout out Seth. Seth, thanks for letting us know Exton Beverage has it. So that's exciting. I'll have to make sure. Where did you get it, Mr. Steve, while you're in mid chug?
When I went to Total Wine.
Okay, nice. How was that experience? I always hear great things about them.
If you want a lot of average beer, they're the spot for you.
Everybody's got their niche.
I was in
Niche.
I really only went there for the wife because the wife needed some of her different liquors that she drinks. She gets these like chocolate milkshake Godiva Kahlua and cream type drinks. That's her jam. So I had to go fill up on that. I got some wines for the holiday. I got like a case of wine.
nice. Good move.
And then I grabbed all that beer there. I grabbed 2 of these. I grabbed a 6-pack of Celebration from Sierra Nevada, and that was it.
I hear you, man. So I was in Seattle a week or 2 ago. I had to go for work. I was super bugged about it. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about flying. Everything's real weird, but I was like, whatever. And I had to do it. So I went, or I told my boss, I was like, I'll do it. It's no big deal. I'm the young guy at the company. So I'm sure if anybody can risk it, it's me. But I did the same thing, man. There was a Total Wine over there. So I scooted in the Total Wine. I'm like, yo, this is going to be so dope. I'm on the West Coast. It's going to be incredible. And I walked in, and it's just like every major beer that we're used to. There really wasn't much of anything that was there that we can't get in Philly, which is fantastic for us. Like, we've got such a good beer market. But, they had all the new Founders KBSs. They had, all of the major brands that I would call like a major craft beer brand. They had a great selection of them. And then, of course, there were some local guys that were Seattle-based, that there was a handful of beers. And but I walked through, and I was like, nothing is really blowing my mind. And I grabbed one bottle of a stout that was like a barrel-aged Imperial, 12% something that had a dope label. I was like, I don't know anything about this brewery. I don't even know if this beer is good. But, I know it'll travel and age well. So I'll pick it up, and that's really all that I bought out of there. I will say that I was way south of Seattle, down near the airport. So the only brewery I really hit was Odin's Brewing, Odin Brewing Company, which I kind of liked because I'm a big fan of like Thor Ragnarok and the Thor movies. So like everything was Odin, Thor, related, Asgard IPA. Thor's this and Odin's that. So
Loki sour.
Yeah, the beers were good. They were really good. I had some good food there too. They had a brisket sandwich and stuff like that, but that was a cool place. And then I think the other night I just ate at Outback, but I had a beer and I wish I could remember what it was, but it was fantastic.
Foster's?
No, it wasn't a Foster's. It was like a local IPA, and I wish I could think of it, but yeah, I don't know. But John, why don't you tell me again what you're drinking? Because I know you went into it a little bit earlier, but I don't know if we did that on the recording or not.
Yeah. So I just finished my Tamave Pivo.
Tamave, that's right.
Right. But next I got lined up Port City Porter, and I will put this porter up against Lancaster Milk Stout any day of the week. Yeah, this porter is one of the best porters in the world. Won a silver medal at the World Beer Cup, which is like, if GABF is the Super Bowl, World Beer Cup's the Olympics. They do World Beer Cup once every 2 years. It's the most well-balanced porter ever. 7.2%. I love to brew it. I love to drink it. Yeah. Yeah, it's perfectly well-balanced. It's not overly roasty. It's not too thin in the body. It's perfect. It's my favorite beer. I brush my teeth with it every morning. Yeah, love me some Port City Porter.
I gotta get down there and get a hold of some of those beers.
Yeah, man, come on down.
I gotta do
I
it.
just recently
now that the country's shut down.
Yeah, right. I just recently installed a kegerator in my house, so
nice.
Constant draft beer now, 2 taps. Got it like a month before COVID hit. So glad I did.
Good move.
Good.
Oh yeah.
I got to get mine running again. I jacked up my regulator because I had the line switched the wrong way.
Right.
And I was trying to release pressure, and beer came out.
Right.
I got like my regulator completely full of beer, and it does not work now.
Yeah.
So I got to replace that, but I've been dying to get that thing back up and running. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it sooner than later. I wanted to get it done for spring and summer, but we will see about that.
There's also these little check valves they sell that if you put them in your gas line, beer shouldn't go to your regulator. So that should help you next time. It looks like a little plastic like nipple thing. You just stick it in there. Sure. Gas goes one way, beer doesn't go the other way.
Makes sense.
Right.
Makes sense for plumbing. I should probably make sure.
Right.
So I'm drinking a brewery I've never heard of, Tall Tales Brewing Company, and they are out of Maryland, I believe. Parsonsburg, Maryland. Tall Tales Brewing Company. This is called On Wednesday We Drink Beer, even though it's Thursday. I got this because of the date. It was one of the fresher ones at the beer store. And I thought it was a kind of a cool can. It's pink and it's got like the creepy cutout letters. Mr. Steve, I think when I showed this to you earlier, you thought that it may be
it's Mean Girls.
Mean Girls related.
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls related.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got some some drawings and stuff on there.
On Wednesday we wear pink. That's what the line is from the movie.
I'm not afraid to say that's a good movie. I like that movie a lot.
It's a great movie.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah, it's very good.
Very good.
Back before that chick got all crazy and not hot.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
But my wife had one earlier and she goes, shit, I switched to something else because I really didn't like that beer. So I really wasn't like super excited for it. But maybe that did it some justice because it's tasting delicious right now. It's definitely a little hazy, but it's coming off a bit bitter up front. So the bitterness it's almost a tad unbalanced because it's so bitter and then a little juicy and smooth on the back end. And there's something in the middle that's missing. But other than that, I mean, all the flavors and stuff are on point. So I'm really enjoying it. It tastes delicious. But I could see her point where it's not as juicy as you'd probably like for a New England IPA, and there is just like something tadly unbalanced about it. Other than that, flavors are on point. I'm digging it.
Nice.
Delicious. Can is cool.
I opened up my my second one here. I got the beer of the moment. If you're on the Breweries in PA site,
Is it a New Trail?
the New Trail Levante collab, pointing north.
That shit is banger.
It's if you're in the hazies, you're in the doubles. This is going to be right up your alley.
Is it super clean?
It's not clean at all. It is the exact opposite of clean.
We talked about that, right, Taylor? Did we have the clean discussion?
That's why I said it. Yeah.
You know, you can't.
Yeah, he ain't into that.
You're not
New
reading
Trail.
anything through that beer.
Dude, New Trail does hazies. They're just so good at it.
They're kicking them out. They can distribute them. They're doing
Yeah.
mass quantities. They're easy to get.
What I meant by clean was totally. I was unaware that clean is an actual beer term. I was talking about it tastes so clean. It's like a refreshing, and that's like what I was trying to relay, and not realizing that I was totally just shitting on his beer right to his face.
I don't think that was the case. I think he was just trying to say like Levante can make clear beers too, you know,
Yeah, and I had no idea what he was talking about. I was like, I'm proud of you. That sounds great. I'm such a noob.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Fish. Fish made a dope meme this week that had me cracking up when we were talking about East Branch.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
That was funny as shit.
that's good.
Made that?
That's
That's great.
I don't want to like say too much, but I mean, East Branch went out of their way to make sure that I got a beer delivery for Nathan, my brother. He lives in New York. When he comes down, he loves Alluvium. He loves a lot of their beers, Der Bock, and I was trying to make sure he could get some on his birthday. And they went out of their way to make sure that I could, you know, get my stuff picked up. And I mean, I don't know. Those guys are just fantastic. But of course, the beers are fantastic. I love them. The food's amazing. I love everything about that place. But they just also go above and beyond for customer service and everything. So I was trying to give them a little bit of love back. And then, you know, we got the meme born of it. And
I mean, I'll say this as a brewer, man. East Branch makes like world class beer. Like anytime I'm home in Downtown, I go to like Leone's Pizza and I go to East Branch, you know, and I load up. I saw one of the comments was like, "What kind of beer does a brewer have on tap at his house?" One of them's East Branch. You know, not all the time, but yeah, East Branch Pilsner. I've definitely had that on draft at my house. They, you know, load up on cans. Yeah,
it's interesting because I'm hearing that a lot. You know, I've heard that Gene from Tired Hands is a huge East Branch fan, and he's real tight with those guys, obviously, but like he's always got their Pilsners and lagers on tap at home. And I think that what I'm finding out is that a lot of brewers appreciate that. And that's like that gap that I'd love to figure out how to bridge, because brewers love those clean styles, those beers that aren't easy, that take longer, that you can't hide things with a bunch of hops and a bunch of dry hopping and things like that. And brewers love a good style like that. And when you find a brewery that does them, I just wish that the common person would appreciate them as much as a lot of the people that are deep into craft beer do. You know, everybody goes crazy for the hazies, and not to knock that, because I mean, what a fantastic business model. That may be the thing that bridges that gap, that people that love drinking, you know, orange crushes in the summer and, you know, all the traditional stuff, that the seltzers and all that. they find a good hazy New England IPA that's super juicy, low IBU, and can crush them and appreciate the flavor profiles. That may be the thing that brings them over to the Pilsner side eventually, gets them into craft beer. And the way that you see these breweries cranking out these hazy beers and people just buying them, you can't knock that. That's a great business model. Good, good for them. And I love them. I do. But I just wish for somehow that people would start to appreciate these more difficult styles, these traditional styles, the lagers, the pilsners, the kolsches.
I'm just thinking this now, but I don't know how many breweries do those styles, let alone how many do them really well, because like you said, the business model is hazies, and I love hazies, so not a lot of breweries brew those styles. And then for those who are, out of practice or whatever, like you said, they're not easy styles to make. So when you find an East Branch, when you find, I'm biased, but a Port City, that makes good lagers, I jump all over them, but
I have a hard time understanding for sure what's a beer that sells easy, because to me, I would think if most people are used to Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light, that your pilsners, your lagers, your kolsches should be an easy sell for somebody and move quickly because the average person would drink them. But is that not the type of person that's coming into a craft beer bar? Do they avoid those places and go to their dive bar, to their restaurant, and get those macros that they just always have, the 5 or 6 varieties, or when people pull up to a craft beer place or to a brewery, do they usually always go for the IPA?
I think with regards to the macro lager drinker, it comes down to probably 3 things. One is habit and culture. That's what I drink. That's what I do. I drink Bud, I drink Miller, I drink Coors. The other thing is probably maybe price. Miller, Coors, it's less expensive than your craft.
Sure.
And then thirdly, it's this weird what's the word? Kind of like this anti-bougie. You have I have an uncle who only drinks Coors Light, and you drink craft, you're some soft liberal. You drink craft beer,
sure. I got you.
Yeah, and
I get that.
He came to visit, I don't know, a year ago. We had dinner. I had my IPA. He had his Coors Light. And at the end of the meal, I was like, hey, there's a little beer bar down the street. We want to grab one. He's like, all right, I'll let you pick me out something. I don't like this fancy stuff, but, beer's beer or whatever,
Yeah,
so
right.
He was drinking Allagash White,
Yeah.
Great beer. Love Allagash White. And, he's having a couple, and he goes, what are you drinking? And I said, I'm drinking a Grisette. He's like, what's a Grisette? I was like, well, it's a style that, it's a Belgian style that Belgians and coal miners used to drink. He's like, whoa, I don't want to hear any of this fancy stuff. I was like, hey, man, you know what beer is, what mining coal is. That's what these guys drank, okay? Don't get all up on your high horse about your fancy beer, It's just beer, So, there's this, you kind of got to just get over it and know that beer is beer, It's not just because you're not used to it. Just because it's not, Bud Miller Coors doesn't mean it's not still just beer.
It's funny, man. I've got the Allagash White thing a lot. When I was just starting to get into beer, if anybody's a craft beer fan and been to Massachusetts, if you haven't been, I highly recommend it. Armsby Abbey, one of my favorite establishments. They always have a bunch of Hill Farmstead on. They've got a fantastic tap list. Worcester is it's spelled Worcester. I called it Worcester, a true American would, but those people up in Boston call it Worcester. So it's kind of in between Treehouse and Boston, right? There's Worcester, and so I went there early on into my craft beer game, and I'm like, I'm not sure what I like. I like drinking Blue Moons. I like this and that. and they go, Allagash White for you. I remember going to a bunch of places, craft beer places, and I'm like, I'm not sure. What do you recommend? And they're just like Allagash White. And I do not like it. Never have. I don't know if I ever will. I haven't had it in a long time because, like, there's probably something about that wit beer type. It's a wit beer, right? What is that?
Yeah.
There's something about that style that's a little funky to me that hits my palate in a weird way that I don't like. Tastes like a dish rag. Like, to me personally. But a lot of people like it, and that one doesn't do it for me. But I got that a lot as I was trying to get into it. Hoegaarden, the same thing.
Yeah,
I don't like that either.
At Port City, half our sales is Optimal Wit, which is a Belgian white ale. That's half the beer we make. You know, people love it. Yeah. But
I see it. I get it. It's interesting though. But that's what I'm wondering is if somebody actually ends up showing up at a brewery. That's interesting to know. Half of it is wit beer, half of it's something lighter, or do they just go like, give me what you would drink, or give me like the crazy IPA? That's that interesting dynamic. Like I just assumed that the lager was the easy sell, but maybe people, if they get into a craft beer bar, are going to try something a little bit more exotic, maybe.
Yeah,
because I think they need to.
Yeah.
But it's become a cool thing. I mean, I think Mr. Steve's the one that brought it to my attention, or that kind of suggested the ideas. Like, start out with a lager, a Pilsner. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to a brewery, order that first. Do that before you wreck your palate with some hops or whatever else you might be drinking. And, test that out, see how you like that, and then move on to the hazy or the IPA that you've been really wanting to try.
And part of that was just me seeing that all I was drinking was IPA. That's all I was drinking. And I said, you know what? I want to broaden my horizons. I want to get away from just doing the IPAs. And through the process of making sure I order a lager first, I began to appreciate the different lagers and be able to differentiate good from bad. And that kind of helped me educate myself by just throw myself out there and saying, I'm going to try these lagers. I'm going to try these Pilsners. And now I tend to gravitate towards them.
Agree completely.
And I I love looking at, I brought up Port City's tap list. You got the Belgian, you got the Golden Ale, Pilsner, the Euro Lager, Pale, IPA, the Porter, the Belgian Strong Gold, and the Weizenbach. There's such a variety there. Yeah. I hate it when I see 8 out of 10 IPAs now. It drives me insane. Like, I don't understand as a brewery how you only do that. So to see that kind of variety, it makes my heart happy.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I listen. I love IPAs. I've been drinking IPAs my whole life. But yeah, you can't just drink IPAs. You gotta try something else. So
I named my dog IPA. My dog's name is Pippa.
Yeah,
so I know, but there's more to life than just IPAs.
But I mean, like I said, on that 2-tap kegerator, I got an IPA all the time, and then I got a nice, crispy lager. Right now it's the Tamave. Yeah, crispy boys.
That's awesome. So, I've been exploring Delaware quite a bit over the past few weeks, and I've been to a lot of breweries down here. And I went to Dogfish Head. I went to Crooked Hammock. I went to Dewey. Dewey's fantastic. Dewey's probably at the top of the list right now. I was texting with Dunn from Fan Brewing the other day, and I think he's on point, and I should probably bring some back for Taylor. The kettle sours are probably, top tier, better than anybody else out there. But their IPAs are fantastic. All the beer's fantastic, but the food is too. Last night I checked out a place called Big Oyster. And Taylor, you actually brought a Big Oyster on the show a couple weeks ago, Marley the Sour, which I did have and is fantastic. Their their hazy IPAs are pretty decent, nothing crazy. But this beer here is called Hammerhead. This is a West Coast IPA, 6.4. This might be one of the best beers I've found down here. When you go to the beer store, there's not as good of a selection as you get in PA. It's just not as good, and stuff that's on the shelf has been there for a while. This is probably one of the most well-balanced beers that I've had in a long time. It's clean. As far as the color, it's nice and clear, but man, is it fantastic. I'll have to bring some back, but I don't know, maybe we can get, I mean, if you got Marley, I guess we're getting Big Oyster in PA. I don't know. I saw the Marley. I saw the Marley at Thorndale Beverage. Okay.
And I think I saw it at Exton as well, but I don't recall seeing it recently. Anyway, maybe it was like more of a summer thing, but it was really good. The Marley stuff. I got some for my birthday. Harmon got me a 4-pack for my birthday. That's where I had
Dan Harmon.
Yes, sir.
Dan Harmon. Tell Dan Harmon I said hello.
I will. Came through with some Marley beers and some Marley trees for my birthday.
What, like a bonsai tree? What is that? A tree? Bonsai tree?
Yes, there's a cactus.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Exactly what it is. I water it every night before I go to.
You roll it up
get
nice
Mike
and
back
tight in a
on.
blanket.
Yeah, just nice and tight.
Mike from Slip Pot Bonsai. He's always engaged and commenting on stuff and liking and sending messages and stuff like that. So we should get him back on. And,
I got to talk to him. We brought our bonsais inside because it's so cold.
Yeah,
and they're like dropping leaves like crazy. So I gotta figure out if I got a problem with my bonsai or not. I need a bonsai doctor.
You gotta get to the bottom of that.
I'm worried.
Tom Densmore.
Do you know Tom?
Tom Densmore is a good man. He's
Is he?
Oh, he's one of the top physicists in the country. No, he teaches high school physics in Westchester. He's my cousin, and I love him dearly.
What up, Tom?
How you doing, Tom?
Thanks for coming on, Tom.
Thanks for educating our youth, because that's one of the most important things.
They need it.
Need it bad. So as much as I'm excited that you guys are here, I did try to get another guest on prior, which was Run the Jewels. And Run the Jewels was not available to be on the show.
A little busy.
Yeah, but I was super excited to see they're doing a beer collab. So, Taylor, do you know what Cyberpunk is? It's a video game, right?
Video game that's getting ready to come out. Whenever.
And Run the Jewels either did the soundtrack or they're part of it, but they're doing the Cyberpunk Run the Jewels beer collab, and they're collabing with a bunch of breweries across the country. One of them being our boy Marcus from Weathered Souls in Texas.
Yeah.
He's one of the people involved. But I was really excited to see that. And it's interesting that, like, I read an article about Run the Jewels and them doing beer collabs, and, you know, how they feel like the two mesh, that people that are craft beer fans are also potentially a fan of Run the Jewels, and there's some kind of synergies there as far as the style of things that they're into or appreciating well-crafted beer, music, whatever. That may be a journalist reaching a little bit. I don't know.
Run the Jewels is so important in so many aspects of life, whether it's beer, music, pop culture. I urge people to go listen to Run the Jewels 4. It is my clear-cut album of the year. There isn't anything that has come out that I've heard cover to cover that has captivated me as much as Run the Jewels 4. And if you listen to the album and you like it, go look up on YouTube Holy Kalama Vote. They did a live whole concert of the whole album in order to get people to register to vote like last month or something like that. They did it on Adult Swim, and it was absolutely fantastic. Go check them out. Run the Jewels. Very important. Killer
No.
Mike is incredible. So
They are fantastic.
They don't.
If anybody,
They don't pay us.
they do not pay us.
they don't piss.
If anybody knows them or has their number, please text them and tell them I'm very disappointed that they did not show up.
There's
I'll let them know.
Multiple messages were left, and Facebook messages and Instagram messages sent.
probably
What would Taylor do if Run the Jewels popped up on one of these screens?
I wouldn't tell him. I'd probably just like
No, you can't.
like
He would lose his effing mind.
I would just bring them on screen. That's probably what you would do.
Oh my
I'm
god!
like,
Oh my god!
He'd be yelling for Jackie. He'd be like, "Jackie, come see."
I'm gonna put in all kinds of shit. I do.
yo, shout out Lauren Van Dyke Mathery, because she said this is like a high school reunion she didn't get invited to. She messaged on the not in the chat, but on the Facebook post. So shout out. But
Oop.
there goes my phone.
down, dude.
I'm gonna
Silent.
leave my phone alone.
Yeah. So, cheers for the week.
Do you want to get into it?
We're running out of time for
Yeah.
my portion. You guys
For
can
your
keep-
portion, we'll keep going after you're done. Do you want to start, Taylor? Because I feel like yours is
Well, I'll just keep it short and sweet. Lost a friend this week, Chris Abood. Devin's real good friends with him as well. It's a real shame. My thoughts are with his wife, Courtney. John, you and me grew up with Courtney. I remember when she first got her driver's license and had a solution fit because she couldn't figure out how to put gas in her car. Like that's how long we've all been in each other's lives. And it's just a real shame, man. And yeah, so cheers to Chris and everybody who knew him, everybody who loved him. Cheers to you guys.
toast of the week. Yeah, I got to piggyback off that a little bit because I didn't know Chris that well, but of course, like you said, we knew Courtney for a long time, and a lot of our friends that I am closer with are close with them and that family, and it was definitely heartbreaking this week. So, cheers to toast to everybody that was close to that family and to Chris. Sorry for your loss, man, but I hate doing this because it's like. We keep doing this toast of the week was supposed to be like this cool segment, and terrible shit keeps happening.
I mean,
dog, Chris, whatever. But I mean,
moment to recognize,
yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
And it can be anything. If it's heavy, if it's lighthearted. Mine this week is a toast to the greatest holiday that's coming up next week. It's Thanksgiving time. If anybody wants to get into a argument with me about the better holiday, and I can tell you why you're wrong, it's Thanksgiving. You don't have to buy any presents. You don't have to worry about disappointing anybody.
So
You
true.
usually only have to travel to one spot. You got food, you got football, you got beer releasing on Wednesday, you got beer releasing on Friday. It's the GOAT holiday, Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving.
Well done, Mr. Steve.
Well, way to turn it around there, Mr. Steve.
Do what I do. It's what I do.
You do a great job.
Before we end the show,
It'd be different if like the Eagles were good this year, or like there was something or like you know what I mean. Like yeah,
I was hold on a second. I was gonna toast COVID for getting to JJ Arcega-Whiteside, but I decided against it. The only thing he has caught this year has been COVID. I stayed away. I stayed away.
oh, that's awesome. Before we end the show, I want to give a shout out to Ryan again. Fueled by Hops, the Cheers Yinz Fest. I posted the link again in the chat, but I'll make sure I post it again. I think it's fantastic what you're doing for your local breweries and breweries all over, where you can help them out and get people more engaged. So keep doing what you're doing, because between everything, the podcast, the group, the blog, the festival, you're doing great things for the industry. And I think that's what we're all here to do, help support it all the stuff that brings us joy. We're trying our best to give it back. So keep doing what you're doing. And
Appreciate that,
thank
man.
you so much for hanging out and being a part of the
Thanks for having me.
the conversation, bringing more content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harahan, if you're willing, we're definitely going to hang out probably for another half hour. I'm sure Taylor's going to get off, but we do have to end the official recording of Might Be Brews that gets released on the podcast. So there's the music.
Yeah, man.
John, thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate you, buddy. Listen, if you guys took the time to hang out with us, to comment on the Facebook Live, to listen to us on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it might be, you took us with us. You took us with you on the way to work. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out the website, mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your favorite podcast. Also, please consider supporting us, patreon.com/mbnnetwork, and also our sponsor, eunomiacbd.com, eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN, get 20% off and some free stuff. I've been taking the CBD gummy peach rings every night before I go to sleep. I sleep like a baby. They're fantastic. So make sure you check them out. But if you took the time to check us out, we can't tell you how much we appreciate you. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
I wish I had a better grasp on why this beer is so good, because it's more than just being a clean West Coast. Like, it almost hits you like a hazy, but it's not hazy. I don't know how to explain it, but I want more people to drink a fresh version of that beer and say why it's not one of like the best beers out there. Their food sucked though. The food was terrible. They kind of had an indoor outdoor setting going. They had like, I almost feel like it's worse. They like say it's outdoor, but it's like a plastic tent. And they had this heater running that was like blowing hot air. We were sitting right next to the heater, and I felt like it was just going right up my shirt. And I was like sweating, and just, there was a lot of things that were wrong with that experience. I feel like their beers are good. The food could be a little bit better. We tried a bunch of stuff, the calamari. All right. We're not recording anymore, so I'm just kind of like freestyling and
we are still live on Facebook.
We are still live. I understand that. I'm not going to say anything ridiculous.
You just blew our sponsorship.
But like I had Taylor, what do you got your hand for? Are you getting off? You got to go?
Yes.
Yeah.
But before I get off, I want to
bounce out of here too, guys.
Ryan, thank you so much for being on. John, thank you so much,
guys.
John and Steve, I'm proud of you guys. And one more thing, Sean, in the comments, I'm really glad you like Run the Jewels. Fantastic. Tell all your friends. Peace out. Great show this week. And
absolutely. Cheers, guys.
Okay, goodbye.
See you guys.
All right, they're gone. That was quick. I got rid of Taylor early because I don't. Yo, go to bed. Yo, Fish is hilarious. He's probably the funniest guy that I know. I don't even know him that well. So, what was I talking about?
Oh, you're talking about. Well, so I have a theory about what you were talking about.
Okay, go ahead.
So, if I remember, you're talking about the beer, and you're saying it has kind of like a West Coast quality, but kind of like a hazy quality to it.
Yep.
And I feel like there's a lot of beers that, like, I call it both coast, because you got like this juicy New England style, but with this like bitter backbone to it. And there's not a ton of beers that like play both sides like that, but when you find one, it's so good because you're looking for something kind of soft and juicy, but you also love IPAs. You want a little kick of bitterness. And it's nice when you find both in a beer.
I think you're onto that.
Is that West Coast going to come back, John? Do you think? I think it's going to come back. I always say it's like a pendulum. Like we
Right.
had the bitter wars of what was that, like 2012 maybe, the palate wreckers, the super hoppy beers, and I feel like the palate swung the other way, and I think it's just going to swing back there eventually. What's going on behind me? What's happening?
There's a small child.
What's happening?
I think you're gonna see, like, there's always gonna be.
I always say it's like a pendulum. Like we had the bitter wars of
Andy Beach.
Yo, we got a crazy delay there. Andy, I don't know if what you got going on there, if you have a Facebook stream open too, but we got a crazy delay echo when we brought you on. So if you can check that out, maybe make sure you just have StreamYard open.
Yeah,
and
we'll bring you back.
I got nothing but good things to say about Andy Beacho.
I love Andy.
Yeah,
she's a fantastic person. It's so much fun to have beers with her, and just to chat, and it's always a pleasure when you run into her anywhere you go. It stinks that she's not local anymore. I've been trying to grow my beard out a little bit, but I can't stop touching it now.
She's in Oklahoma.
A little bit. Yeah.
No shit. I did not know that.
Yeah,
dude. When I had the beard, I could not stop touching it.
Yeah, that's my thing. I kind of stopped trimming it for like maybe a few weeks now, and I just keep like tugging on it.
So it's
I've
funny.
been trying to grow this forever. No.
Ryan was talking about that, the face of craft beer. I feel like Andy knows more people in craft beer than anybody.
I believe
Andy is when I first started Victory in 2008, Andy got hired like soon after, and I was like blown away by how much she knew about beer. I was like just graduated college kid, thought I knew a lot about beer, and she's just these things, there's things called noble hops, and there's this and there's that, and for anyone, if I had to pick someone who gave me like a foundation on beer, it's probably Andy, because we worked together for like 2 years in this retail shop, and she just, I learned a lot from her.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Do you want to get into this article of the brewery killer?
Yeah, are you ready for it?
I don't know if I should laugh about that, but
I saw the headlines.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Did you see the headlines?
I did. From Worst Beer Blog, if anyone follows them online, but
that's a Twitter follow of mine right there.
Me too. I'll show a quick mug shot. Let me see if I can get this shared here. I'm going to do a Chrome tab. Let's see if this works. This guy. All right, so this is a pretty complex story. Anybody that's into true crime might be pretty interested in this. Very interesting. Allen, I guess Allen is actually the town, but the article says that the guy murdered somebody but tried to make it look like a suicide. So he shot somebody and then staged it to make it look like the guy killed himself. And yeah, so there's a bunch of things. Like the police department said, like from the very start, things did not feel right about it. First off, the guy was right-handed, but the gun was found in the guy's left hand. There was a bunch of things like that. The positioning didn't look right. And I believe the guy that killed him was very interested in trying to get a hold of his finances, or there was some kind of business partner. So he thought like he could probably get some things done. But the guy that killed him is also a registered nurse. So they think like when they did a toxicology on the guy that killed himself, or supposedly did, the victim, they were like, there's no reason that this drug should be in his system if he did not just have surgery. So like he definitely injected him with something, then killed him, staged it, typed up a suicide note. And then like part of the suicide note was like to his wife, like reach out to this guy and help and ask him to help manage our finances. And like he started immediately like transferring $20,000 to his bank account. all kinds of like really shady stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think the police right off the bat were like, none of this really adds up. And I always say beer people are the best people. This is probably the first
exception.
example where it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, the exception for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
What was he? Was he an owner? Was he a brewer? What was he?
Yeah, I don't know if he was a brewer. It kind of said like I don't know if I can find it quickly, but he was a brewery owner, but also a registered nurse, but also had part ownership of like a financial management company. So I think the guy maybe had his hands in a bunch of different things. You know, it was nothing that was clear cut, but for some reason they chose the headline to be brewery owner accused of staging client's murder to look like a suicide. I guess that's the one that gets the clicks.
Financial advisor doesn't quite bring the people as much as head brewer does.
Right? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it sucks to laugh about it, but it's definitely interesting. You know, I don't know. It definitely stood out to me. I got to give a shout out. Hopefully, a future guest, Aaron Gore. He runs a consulting company for breweries, I believe, and he just posts fantastic content. So a lot of times, just following him on Facebook, like I don't know. I just feel like we're on the same wavelength. Whatever he posts is something I'm very interested in, whether it's brewery related or otherwise. I'm just a fan of his, and we've tried to schedule things on the show before. We just can't ever seem to get on the same page as far as a schedule, but you know, it is what it is.
That's a job I want, consulting.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be. I wish I knew enough about it.
Stop having half your tap list be IPAs. Stop.
Yeah, Steve,
Don't release that beer. Stop.
Clean your draft lines.
Right?
Your food sucks.
So I think, did we talk about it last time on the show while in Palm Pack and Night Shift hitting shelves? I feel like we might. I can't remember if we actually talked about it on the show or if I just posted about it in the last week.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think we talked about Night Shift. I don't think we talked about While in Palm Pack, though.
Well, yeah, maybe it was after the fact, after the show, but While in Palm Pack definitely made a delivery to a handful of beer distributors in our area. One of them being the one, what's the one in King of Prussia?
Kunda.
Kunda Beverage. They got a shipment of it. I think a few others did, but we've got some Wall and Palm Pack in our area. I know they won, I think, 2 GABFs this year, and maybe a couple last year as well. But we had them on the show before. I know she's a fantastic lady that runs that place, and you know, so I don't know. I'm excited to try to find some. I've been out of the area, unfortunately, and couldn't grab any, but hopefully we'll find some. And then Night Shift as well. They started, I think was a distribution deal, and they pushed some stuff out. So I know that's been actually hitting the shelves. They announced it, but it's been hitting the shelves lately. I've been seeing people post about it, not only the beer distributors, but people themselves actually getting it home. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to getting home and hopefully seeing some of that on the shelf.
Yeah, I've definitely seen the Night Shifts pictures people posting a lot of.
Yep.
I would love to get up to Wall and Palm Pack. I think maybe next summer we do a long weekend in the Poconos and hit those guys up.
I'm sure she'd be up for it. It's just a matter of actually doing it. We'll see. I don't know, man. Part of me is like super excited for a vaccine, and the other part of me thinks that's how I Am Legend started. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure that's like the same thing. But
hey, if it does, it was a good run.
Yeah,
we had a good run.
We had a good time. I mean, our podcast started to get a little popular, so
we got our Super Bowl. We
Yes.
made the trade. What else can we say?
We made the trade.
I'm cracking another one because I'm crazy. I probably shouldn't, but
No,
Yeah.
do it.
You do you,
going
boo.
for the KBS.
Nice.
Ooh, not going light either.
You know, if you're cracking another one, I'm gonna run down the
Go grab
kitchen
one.
and pour one real quick. I'll be right
Yep,
back.
Yep.
Do it. You know, we could talk about, John, if anybody's still listening or watching, I should say, if you want to come hang out with us, Dark Wednesday coming up next week.
Yes, I wish we would. Fuck, I wish we would have plugged that earlier. But anybody that's still watching or watching this, I guess that's the only option. You're not listening to this part of it,
Unless
Friday.
you're literally like watching something else while we're on in the background, just listening.
Yes, good
Maybe
point.
they're watching a football game. 13-7 Seahawks.
All right, so this is probably one of the most important things that's happened to me in my adult life, that you invited me to this Dark Wednesday ritual, where the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we meet up at Victory. We've been meeting at Victory in Parksburg. And we kind of like, even though it's not necessarily necessary, we've been meeting up.
Not at all.
No, it's not like a tired hands line where like you got to get there at a certain point. Like we get there and nobody else is really there yet. But we get in line, we crack a couple beers, we hang out. We just kind of enjoy the morning and BS. We got a coat, some lawn chairs, whatever it is, some camping chairs. And then we actually get into the Java Cask release, Dark Wednesday with Victory. I got to say, I'm not super excited about their beer releases the past couple years.
Agreed.
I love the heavy Java casks. I love the Java cask. I mean, Java cask maple wasn't perfect, but it was good. Java cask rye was fantastic. I would love to see more bombers of heavy bangers. And so I guess we're kind of putting it out there. If anybody's watching, we're going to be at Victory Parksburg Wednesday morning, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, this upcoming Wednesday, I guess.
Yeah, Wednesday.
We'll be there, hanging out, cracking a couple beers, and then they're going to open in that morning for food. So, you go through the line, you grab the beer that you want, you come back, and then we all hang out and have a little breakfast with a little flight maybe, or whatever it is, and try some of these new styles, and then probably eat something that's got a spicy maple syrup that's way too much to handle, that ruins your stomach.
I feel like you're still sweating from that ghost pepper. Was it ghost pepper maple?
I think it was Carolina Reaper, but
Carolina Reaper. That's what it was.
The same ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Java Cask Maple was great. Java Cask Rye was fantastic. I love my barrel aged stouts. I love the heavy stouts. And they're like, oh, we got this new Java latte. And like, I don't know, man. For me, it's like whatever the direction that Victory has gone since the buyout has been, like low ABV, easy drinking. Let's move from Java Cask to Java Latte, a milk stout, or whatever it is. It's just not fantastic. It's just not up my alley. Like I don't know why they're going away from Hop Wallop. They're going away from all of these things that have been, traditions and have been, the not necessarily the flagships, but the beers that have grown in popularity that the purists love. And they're trying to get a hold of that. If they're trying to get a hold of that, the newer clientele, maybe, I don't know if that's what it is, but Cloudwalker's fantastic. They did a great job with that, but I feel like everything else seems to be going in the wrong direction. And I don't know who they're talking to, but
I think a little bit of is they kind of got stuck because they made really good beers available all the time. There was a time when Storm King was in the top 10 of Beer Advocate beers out there. Like it was top 1 or 2, I think, for a time.
That is
If
a
they-
rugged beer. That Taylor describes beer as rugged sometimes. When I drink
Mhm.
that beer, I think rugged. Like it's extremely bitter on all ends.
And I said from the beginning, if they would have came out with Dirt Wolf, but released it in 16-ounce cans once every 4 months, they'd have had lines around the block.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if that almost hurts them. They almost get penalized for having these super solid beers that they release a lot of
at prices that are very reasonable.
and another part.
And does that cheapen your brand? I don't know.
You know, that's what drives me crazy is they're gonna brew a bunch of Java Latte, a bunch of whatever, and if they just did a limited run of Java Cask and released it on Dark Wednesday, and they did a release and they had a couple variants of it, you know, brewery only, that would get the necessary hype and they would sell all of their bottles and they wouldn't have all of this junk sitting around, you know, for a long time. Me personally, I don't know. That's just my take on it.
Well, the one problem also is what's the other location?
Victory or Downingtown.
Parksburg. Parksburg.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge, you know.
That's where we go for Dark Wednesday. We go to Parksburg. It's a big
Right.
location, and like Downingtown this year needs reservations.
Right.
Parksburg and Kennett Square does not. I'm still hoping they might give some of us early birds a Dark Wednesday glass that they're giving to the people at Downingtown if they make a reservation. I'm hoping the Parksburg people still get a hold of that, but we'll see. I don't really need another glass, but I just like free shit.
Yeah,
Right.
as I'm looking at like 17
Yeah.
glasses, just start pulling glassware down.
I think they just need to hire you, Steve, because I mean, between Pirate Monkey and the Java Cask stuff and Dark Wednesday, you could point them in the right direction if they hired you for marketing.
Pirate Monkey is the biggest miss they've had ever.
What was Pirate Monkey?
It wasn't. That's the problem. So they did Golden Monkey in rum barrels.
Yeah.
Now wait a second. The problem wasn't the beer. It was one of the better beers that I think they put out in the past 3-4 years. I thought it was fantastic. But they called it Golden Monkey in rum barrels instead of Pirate Monkey.
Pirate Monkey was the move.
Just put the monkey and put a freaking eye patch over him and call it Pirate Monkey and make millions. That's the it was seriously one of the better beers I've had from them. The original batch that they put out, they put in 24-ounce bombers. They aged beautifully. It almost didn't taste like a triple anymore, but there was still hints of the triple. You got the barrel, you got the heat of the rum a little bit, but it wasn't overly hot and spicy. It was just such a good beer. It was one of my favorites that they put out.
Nice.
So my brother Nathan, he was down from New York. He lives up near Rochester, which is dope. There's an other half up there now, which he doesn't go to and bring me beer, unfortunately. But
yeah, what's up with that?
When I go up there, I always make sure, I hit that place up. But he's been getting a little bit more into beer. He did ship me some Shipyard and Abbott's ice cream. Did like a collab that's like an almond custard stout, which is okay. It's not amazing, but it is like very flavorful. It's pretty good. But he came down and we like went out and tried a bunch of stuff and he gets excited. He's like, I want to go to East Branch. I want to go to Victory. Like these are the places that really speak to me. And I haven't found anything in Rochester that does that for him, he brought his girlfriend down with him. I swear, Sour Monkey is amazing. Sour, like Gold Monkey to me is like a little bit too Belgian, a little bit too funky for me. Sour Monkey is fantastic. Now they have another monkey. I forget what it's called, but it's like a 5% version.
There's like
Gold
80
Monkey.
monkeys. There's all kinds of monkeys.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. But I want to say that I had Cloudwalker, I had the Czech Pills, but Kirsch Goza. That I remember being one of my favorite beers, and it just did not taste good this time. Like I remember having it and being like, this is probably one of the best beers I've ever had. Because, every once in a while you just have this beer, and even though it's not like maybe your preferred style or maybe something that you're necessarily into, you can drink a beer of like, that's kind of out of your normal realm and be like, wow, this is really well done. It's incredibly well balanced. There's a bunch of great flavors going on here, and it stands out. And that beer did it for me for a couple of years. This year there was like this weird cinnamon note to it that really stood out. I don't know if it was cinnamon. I could be way off, but like that beer just did not hit the way that it normally does. And I was super disappointed because like, I was like, oh, it's on the menu. I'm going to get it in my flight. And I was like, shit, it just doesn't taste good. I had it after the Czech Pills. I think I did Czech Pills. I did that, then Sour Monkey, and then something else. I tried to work my way up the scale.
Have you guys had Fest beer this year?
I did not. I don't know if I did. I don't think I did.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, I was surprised when we did our Mars in Oktoberfest episode. I was super surprised to hear that that beer Fest beer is actually the Copper Lager too at PJ Willihan's.
Huh? Yeah,
same thing.
That happens. That's kind of anytime if you walk into a bar and they're just a bar and they have their own beer on draft, it's almost 100% of the time someone else's beer. They just want to put their own label on it and say, they talk to the distributor and say, hey, you sell this for a discount, we'll buy it all the time, because
I'm sure that stuff happens all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, but it's interesting because like that Copper Lager reminds you of like it reminds you of Yingling, like an alternative to Yingling, not so much an Oktoberfest or a Marzen. That's more of a seasonal beer. It's like, oh, if I'm gonna get if I usually get a Yingling, maybe I'll try this Copper Lager because maybe that's in the same realm. That's how I interpret it when I see it on tap at like PJs and stuff like that. Sorry, Sean. Look, I like Victory, man. Cloudwalker is a fantastic beer. Java Cask is like, I remember getting into these stouts, right? And I had like almost back to back Barrel Aged 1050. I'm trying to think what else. KBS, CBS, Java Cask. Java Cask is my favorite. That beer was so well done, a perfect barrel aged. Like, I love it, love it, love it, love it. I love Victory. I still go there all the time. But
I mean, Victory, the times that I will give Victory a hard time is because I hold them to such a high standard. They make such good beer, and I know, as a person who's worked there, I know what they are and what they can be. So if they release a beer that I don't think is up to their standards, you're more critical on Victory than you would be of some little brewery in a no-name town that, doesn't, a home brewer who started their own brewery and like their beer's okay, whatever. You might not be as hard on that guy as you are on Victory, because Victory should make amazing beer because they're able to,
Yeah, I don't like to be that guy that says, oh, you got bought out, you're no good anymore, or whatever. I'll do everything I can to avoid that because that's not necessarily the case. But I mean, I just in some cases don't like the direction they're going. I love that. I remember having Cloudwalker when it was Victory IPA number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember that specifically and being like, this beer is fantastic. And then talking to a bartender and being like, oh my God, this is delicious. And they go, oh yeah, we did it as a test and it did so well that we turned it into a beer. And it's like, well, then great. Like, I'm glad that things worked out the way that I intend they're supposed to. And they did great. But there's other misses that I think they have where they take certain things away, and they must have some data. There's probably some data that says, whatever, like these beers don't sell as well, or we're selling more of this than that, and they're going off of that to make their brewery decisions. But for a lot of us, at least the people that I talk to, it feels like it's a miss. And I'm sorry, Sean. I know I really feel like we're just like bashing Victory at the moment, but I've got a couple articles that we can probably move on to in a minute. But
just before we get off of that, the last time I went to Victory, I had a lot of great beers. They had I don't know what to call them. They're new Pilsners or lagers. They had some great beers on. I had a double dry hop Dirt Wolf that I thought was fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
So they had good beers on the last time I was there. So it's not a total shit fest. I'm not shitting on them at all. I mean, we want them to be great. They're our hometown brewery.
Yes.
We want them
Absolutely.
to thrive and be everything they can be.
I mean, without Victory, we don't have East Branch. We don't have Station Tap Room. Victory's been around for almost 25 years, and Downingtown, the whole Philly beer scene would not be what it is without Victory.
Very true. Very, very true. All right, let me hop into my my bag of tricks here. Animated. Do you know the guys, John? Do you know the guys from Animated Brewing?
I don't.
Do you know Jared or Steve? So I met all of these guys. Believe it or not, it's the weirdest group of people. But I went down with my brother-in-law. We were gonna go play go play catch and hit some balls on a softball field or a baseball field in Downingtown, like West Bradford area. And we get down there and there's this whole group of people playing softball together. And they say, hey, come over and play with us. We need a couple extra people. Come play with us. So we go over and there's Sean from Station Tap Room. There's Gov. There's Steve Osborne from Animated and Jared from Animated. Ryan Dunn from Jackass.
Wow.
A ton of incredible people that we didn't know at the time. We were just like, hey, it's nice to meet you guys. The only person we really knew was Ryan Dunn from Jackass, of course. But we just started playing softball with them like every Sunday, and we became good friends with them. And then next thing you know, like Sean's showing me pictures like, oh, me and my brother just built this bar. We're going to call it Station Tap Room. It's across from, the tap room. And then, Gov's working at Victory, and we get to know Gov, and he eventually goes to East Branch, and Dylan was there, and he had a landscape company, and he eventually goes to East Branch. And, Jared and Steve eventually go to Animated Brewing. So it's really crazy that all these people that like I started to know before like my own craft beer journey are in the industry and have become like, allies and friends and people that we talk to all the time. But very, very interesting group of people that we came to know and love. But Animated, the reason I brought them up is they were opening at the time of COVID really hitting like early March, and they had to postpone, and they finally opened up, and they were just doing like beer pickup, and they've been killing it. Their beer number 2 West Coast IPA is a little heavy on Mosaic, and I love it. It's just a fantastic beer. I love Mosaic hops. And they've got a summer beer. I forget what it's called, but It's got like a little bit of like peppercorn and I think honey maybe, but it's like a pale ale that's fantastic. Or no, it's lemon and peppercorn. In this like this really light summer beer. I forget what they call it, but it's awesome. So very, very cool guys, very good beers. But to stay open in Pennsylvania, they've been like having a beer truck or not a beer truck, a food truck and some kind of catering or something like that because they have to serve food if they're going to serve beer as well. But they told me they've been working like crazy to get their kitchen open and bring somebody in to run it. And they finally started serving their own food, which I'm excited to try because I think they're doing their own pizzas. They're doing their own pulled pork sandwiches. They're doing, those big German pretzels as well.
Right.
So they've got a really cool, it's very limited, but I think a very cool food menu, which I'm really excited to try. And I mean, they're just a really cool place. It's in Coatesville. Like there's not a whole lot going on in Coatesville.
Right.
So you go like off of 82 down this like weird road and you end up at this like almost industrial commercial complex that's like right along a river. So it's like a really like interesting, weird spot. But it's really cool. And like, you can like set up I think they like set up chairs sometimes and some tables out by the water, but it's really cool. And just like Doug said, their beer keeps getting better. So they're doing a good job. And I think getting used to like brewing on that kind of system. And when you go into their brewery, if you go look at like their I don't know what you call them because I'm not a brewer, but like their fermenters that are bright tanks. I don't know what the difference is or what, if they're the same or not, but they have like musician or band names on them. Like one of them has like Slash, like a picture of Slash,
Right.
kind of like a almost like a profile picture of Slash from Guns N' Roses. They've got like a couple of those where they're all named a certain thing. So each tank has like its own name, which is kind of cool.
The one way you can tell between a lager tank and a fermentation vessel, a fermenter, and a bright tank is the conical bottom. So if the bottom is shaped like a cone, it's going to be a fermenter.
Okay.
And if it has a flat bottom, it's going to be shaped like it's going to be a bright tank.
Okay, so flat's a bright tank. And is a bright tank usually like pressurized and used to go right to like a tap line?
Depends on the brewery.
Okay.
So at Port City, we have lager tanks and bright tanks that will then go to packaging, whether that's canning, bottling, or kegging. But then there's also smaller brew pubs that will have serving vessels. So it'll go straight from the bright tank to the taps.
I got you.
But yeah, that conical bottom, when the beer is done fermenting, you cold crash the tank. It's very cold. All that yeast settles out and settles into that cone.
Okay.
So you have the yeast in the cone and then all the beer above it. You pull that beer out from above it, leaving the yeast behind is the thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jose Bueno, Joe Good checking in. Really, really wish I knew that you were working at a brewery because I know. Man, was it your anniversary, Joe? Shout out to you and your wife. I think you guys just had an anniversary and went down to Richmond and celebrated. And I think I saw you at Triple Crossing, which is pretty cool. I hit up Triple Crossing when I was down there. Their IPAs are fantastic, and I got some kind of like barrel-aged wild ale when I was there, and I really didn't like it, but that's because I get offended by funky pretty easily.
John does not like anything, any Belgian yeast. He's out.
I think so. You know what though? Finally, somebody told me what it is about cloudy and cumbersome that I don't like, and there was finally a beer at East Branch that I did not like, and and it has a similarity to Cloudy and Cumbersome. Idaho 7, for whatever reason, hits my palate and tastes absolutely disgusting.
All right.
I don't know what it is, but like, you know, Jim said it the last time we were talking about Cloudy and Cumbersome. He's like, people are either in or out on Idaho 7. But East Branch just did a Current, which is their IPA. That's a single hop IPA. It was Idaho 7. And to me, it was almost undrinkable. So I think something about the profile of that hop completely turns me off. I don't know how true it is. Somebody told me recently, your palate changes every 7 years. I doubt that there's like an exact 7-year timer that clicks and says like, okay, your palate's different. But I understand that. Like, I used to love Twisted Teas and Mike's Hard Lemonade, and you know, you would drink a Bud Light and be like, oh, this is way too intense for me. And for some reason things changed, and now, like, you know, a Mike's Hard or a Twisted Tea seems like a piece of candy to me. Like, it's incredibly sweet. Like, my palate for sure has changed and evolved over the years, but there's also like this funkiness. So Idaho 7 may be one of those things, but you know, we talked about Belgian, but like the Belgian ales that are like Belgian triples, that does not offend me that much. Those dark beers that have that like raisin maltiness to them, they're fantastic.
I was just gonna say, if you think you don't like Belgians, go with the Belgian double, a Belgian quad.
Those are fantastic. Yeah. I like those beers, but there's something about certain saisons, certain wheat beers. There's something that is in those beers that when I get into them, they're just like way off to me. There's something off about them. There's a funk to them that tastes to me like a you know, like an old sponge that's been sitting on the counter for a few weeks, and like you finally
do you
put
like
water into it.
Do you like sours and lambics? And
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, those are usually based off of Belgian style. They're just a little more intense.
I love lambics. I wish I could afford to drink lambics all the time.
Same.
You definitely liked when we did Belgian Beer Day. You definitely liked all the quads. All the quads
for sure.
We did.
The quads are fantastic. But I don't know what it is. I'm going to let you guys go for a second. I'm going to go take a whiz. And you guys chat amongst yourselves.
We did a Belgian Beer Day where that's all we drank were Belgians. And I brought a lot of quads. I'm a big quad guy. I had a friend bring me. What's that?
Which quads did you bring?
We did Westie 12. Ooh. We did I think we did Rochefort 10. Nice. And Saint Bernardus 12. Those are my three.
Hell yeah.
Those three I could live with.
Top 3 in the world, man. You guys went hard.
Yeah, we went a little. We definitely went hard. And I love this. And I don't know if it's officially a quad or a strong Belgian dark. And I don't really know the difference, to be honest with you. A Golden Corrales, we call it the Blue Knight. It's Von Kaiserblau or something. I could once John gets back, I'll grab one to show it to you. It's one of the beers that got me into beer to begin with. A neighbor of mine introduced it to me, and it was like, wow, there's more to beer than just yellow fizzy water. And I've started collecting, you know, I have a 2010 through like now. So those are some of the beers we had. We had a couple Cantillon.
Cantillon, yeah.
What else did we have on Belgian Beer Day, John? I told him about the quads.
Yeah, we had a quad. I remember the one from Stickman was fantastic. We had a couple Cantillons.
We had the Westie 12.
Quads. So yeah, Westie 12. That was from you. I don't know.
I am privileged enough to have gone to Cantillon in Belgium. It was like, you know, you go to Mecca. Yeah. And I remember my wife and I, we weren't engaged yet. We were just dating. And, you know, everyone's like, you're going to Europe. You know, it's my first time going to Europe. Haven't been back since. Just, you know, big deal for me. And, you know, you got to propose. And I was like, I don't have a ring. I'm not proposing, you know. And we go to Cantillon, and the tour guide asks some beer question, something technical. And my, you know, girlfriend at the time, future wife, answers the question correctly. And the guy turns to me and goes, you should marry this girl. And I was like, damn it. This guy set me up perfectly. And I was like, yeah, someday.
That would have been great. Just drop
Right,
the knee right there.
Have the ring in my pocket. Hey, I didn't even have to pay him, you know. Yeah, Cantillon's great. I mean, when it takes, you know, years to make a beer, you know, that Cantillon and probably other lambic breweries are very worried about global warming, because the way they cool down their wort is through just the air. So they only brew in the wintertime. And if the air's not cold enough, that wort doesn't get cold enough, and then all that yeast and bacteria in the air won't ferment the beer. So their brewing season gets shorter and shorter every year. And I don't want to live in a world without Cantillon.
Right. Well, that was another article that I don't have readily available, but I thought I read something that there was a distributing company that brings a lot of our German beers and beers from overseas here to the US that was like filing bankruptcy or something like that.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah. So I forget what the name of the company was called, but a lot of
it's like an importer.
Yeah. One of the import companies for sure. But I don't know, man. I do love, like, I'm trying to think of the names, but like all those lambics are fantastic. Like, I just love that style.
The Dry Fontaines, the Cantillons.
That's the one I couldn't think of.
Yeah.
A lot of those. What'd you get?
Oh yeah.
We were talking about this while you were taking your potty break.
I kind of caught the end of it. I figured you said something about I have a 2010.
Yeah, there's
I'm thinking about growing my mustache out and twisting it like this.
Yeah, man.
Twisting it.
Yeah.
Twist it.
I think I can pull it off.
Where's Taylor? Taylor's got the drop. Twist that dick.
Yo, you want to hear something crazy? Evan, our homie Evan Ayton, I think he does a lot of work for East Branch and Sean and all those guys, you know, for all kinds of stuff. He's got his own security company and a great dude. I love that guy. He said that he had a new single hop Pilsner from East Branch today, and it might be the best beer he's had from them so far.
Oh.
And it just like made me go, I just need to go there right now and get like a growler filled or something.
I'm trying to think of what my favorite beer from them would be.
I love Der Bock, but I feel like Carte Blanc just completely, that
beer was so good.
It's so good.
And I think somebody posted it on the meme post. That beer, that Pils showcased hops better than most IPAs do.
Yeah. Somebody did post that. It's like when you love your wife, but that hooker is just like so amazing.
Don't know what you're talking about.
What happened there? I don't know what happened.
I'm just kidding.
You twisted your mustache like you were tying a woman to a train tracks. I didn't know what happened.
I'm just kidding. Hopefully she's not watching still.
They'll never catch me.
So I had Nathan and Taylor over, right? And we're cracking a few beers. I think we all shared that new Trail Levante collab. We tried a couple other beers. And I'm like, man, let's crack one of these KBS maple fudge beers, because like It's so delicious and it tastes like straight fudge. And Taylor was like, this is fucking disgusting. I mean, it's barrel aged, it's a stout, so you definitely have that going on, but there's a sweetness from the maple, and there's definitely a ton of like cocoa fudge going on. And to me, when you sip this beer, it's straight fudge. And of course you get those other flavors, but it's incredibly well balanced. And but the fudge notes stand out. So I think it's very smooth. It's I don't know. To me, I want to say it's easy drinking, but it's I know that it's not because it's a high ABV beer and it's an imperial stout, whatever. But to me, it's like because of the mouthfeel, because of the balance, because of the chocolate, it tastes delicious and it's just incredible. And I know a lot of people have been excited about it, and I know like you're not supposed to like Founders right now because I think last year they had some kind of like
because they're racist.
yeah, they're racist as F, but it's a really good beer. It's delicious.
Hopefully they've grown.
Hopefully. You know, I like them a lot. I went and visited their brewery like maybe 2 years ago, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. It was really nice. The beers were fantastic. I tried some like brewery only type stuff or local stuff, and it was great. And I met cool people. Like I went to the brewery by myself. And I love that. I love just like going to a place and chatting with people and having a great time and like just discussing beer or where you're from or whatever. Just like, you know what I mean? Being a little outgoing and meeting somebody outgoing yourself is such a good time. It's fantastic. And like, that's one of the things I miss about like going to local bars and breweries around here pre-COVID. Cause like you would always run into like, the John what is it John Young or Amish Rob or Devin or any one of those guys that you meet up with accidentally. The guy that we had on the podcast last time, Mr. Steve, help me out. Who's your homie? Anthony.
Oh, Anthony.
Yeah, like you just run into these guys at one of your local establishments in Downingtown, and you end up having like the best time you've had in a long time, having a couple beers, bullshitting, talking about whatever's new. I mean, they're just great people that you run into when you're out at these places.
Right.
So I had that same experience at Founders, and then like, this past few months or so, maybe 6 months to a year, they turned out that they were, pretty effing racist towards some of their employees.
Yeah. So, some of the articles were pretty unfortunate, because they do make good beer. I think even they had an African American woman who was like their head of. I'm going to get the department wrong, but she ended up quitting over all these allegations. I have a friend who used to work at Founders, and he wasn't really surprised by anything that he heard.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm not going to judge anyone for drinking Founders, just like I don't judge anyone for drinking, any beer that doesn't fit with your political, like some people I hear, I don't drink Yingling because of, they give money to this political party or that political party. I'm like, I'm not going to stop drinking beer because of politics. But I mean, on the other hand, it makes sense why someone wouldn't, drink their beer due to, racist allegations or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it completely makes sense. And it's one of those things that's like difficult because like, I'm sure as much as those allegations are there, it doesn't necessarily include everybody involved.
Sure.
And I've always been a proponent of like, drink what you like. It might not be what everybody else thinks is okay. It may not be what's popular, but like, as long as you drink what you like and you're willing to like, talk about it, enjoy it, whatever, like let's talk about it. Let's
Right.
let's dig into it a little bit.
I mean, Andy Bicho, she always said, "Drink what you like and like what you drink."
Yeah.
Personally, I don't buy Founders anymore. That's just me.
Mhm.
But again, it's beer, and I get it.
You
Beer's
have a
delicious.
Leone's hoodie on, don't you?
Oh hell yeah, man, Leone's.
I just noticed it.
Yeah, I love Leone's. I've loved Leone's for over 20 years. I've been going to Leone's. I haven't lived in downtown in over a decade. I'll walk into Leone's and Travis, Gio, Renee, all those guys. Hey, John, how you doing? What are you doing back in town? I'm like, hey, just getting some pizza, man. Yeah, Leone's is awesome. Yeah.
I went there all the time. I went to a nice Chinese restaurant.
Sure.
And I went to Leone's when it was Bravo.
Bravo, yep.
All the time when I was younger.
Sure.
And then I moved to Exton, and I moved further and further away, and I stopped like going there as often. But I started ordering from there because I realized when they were allowed to serve beer, I could go in there and I'd be like, "Oh shit, you've got Dogfish Worldwide Stout on." Like,
right.
Let me get a glass of that while I'm waiting for. Like, my wife and I, we would order food, and I would dart there to get there early, and be like, let me grab something on tap so I can hang out and drink a beer while we're we're waiting for the order to be completed. I haven't been there as much as I wanted to. I know a lot. We've been talking about who's got the best pizza, who's got the best cheesesteaks in the area, and I haven't given them as much of a shot as I should. Partly because they don't deliver, but I don't know. I got to get back there because a lot of people rep them hard and talk about how good they are.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been eating there since it was Bravo, and I went in there, I don't know, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, and they were saying they were having they're doing very well right now with COVID because everyone's doing takeout. And they're doing like Grubhub and Uber Eats and all that, which I don't think had done before. So, because they never delivered, but now they're kind of delivering through the apps. And their cheesesteaks are great. Their chicken honey mustard. I don't even like mustard per se, yellow mustard, but their chicken honey mustard is amazing.
Yeah, their stuffed pizzas are fantastic. I mean, I know I've eaten a lot there. I've gotten a lot of stuff. Their food's
steak,
fantastic.
bacon.
So maybe not everybody that watches the show knows, but I've gotten really into making pizzas. So nice. I've been making my own dough, making my own sauce, experimenting with cheeses, experimenting with toppings, and it's kind of boring to most probably, but I've been, making a cheese and a pepperoni pizza over and over again every week, trying to just perfect that before I move on to more toppings.
Now, when you do that, how much note taking and how much control are you trying to have over your recipe? How does that process work for you?
I'm not as organized as people should be when they're doing these things. People say things like, "Oh, if you love beer, you should be a brewer," or if you love pizza, you should do it. I'm not that focused on it, and I don't take notes. It's all mental stuff. So I'm all right, I think if I add this much salt, this much sugar, and this much yeast, and this much water, that in the flour, it ends up coming out to the right consistency. But if I let it cold ferment this long and then bring it up to room temperature and expand for this long, that seems to be the right texture, the right flavor. That's what I've been really experimenting with when it comes to the dough. I found a cheese that I really like. I've really started to dial in the sauce a little bit, being a little bit more particular about the tomatoes that I use and how much seasoning I put in there and things like that. Cause it's I don't want to make a spaghetti sauce, you don't want too much in there, but you want it to be like clean and flavorful, but not too much. So I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that goes into it, but I don't know, man. It's been like an interesting journey to like figure out a path and understand what you like and don't like and build your own recipe. And I don't know. I don't know where I was going with this. I feel like I had like a whole this was like attached to like another idea and it didn't go anywhere.
Well, I mean, I know it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I watched a half-hour video of making your own pizza grill, like
yes,
cement blocks, and like I was fascinated watching this video, even though I have no desire to build my own pizza oven because I have no backyard. But I watched this video and it was fascinating.
John, do you have a pizza stone or anything like that? Or
so I have a pizza stone which I've used in the oven, which eventually went to my grill, which eventually I got a pellet grill. So it's kind of like it's, I guess you could technically call it wood fired.
They're like a little more efficient. Is that how it works? Or
it's not so much, but it burns wood pellets instead of just propane. So it's got a pizza stone, but it's also got a lid on it.
Right.
And so it keeps the heat in. So I've gotten pretty good at like dialing in a temperature, getting the texture that I want, getting the doneness that I want. But it's been really, really fun and interesting to like dial in the recipes and figure out, you know, I guess there's maybe a little bit of similarities to brewing where you're like, all right, like I need to age it for this long or let it sit for this long and then add in this. Like you can't add the salt too long or too early because the salt affects the yeast.
Right, right.
All kinds of things like that. So like you want it to be flavorful, but you have to add it in at the right step.
Yeah, I know tons of brewers who make bread and make pizza, you know, because it's, you know, beer is liquid bread, you know, so tons of brewers I know love making pizza and making bread at home. I just saw Katie Harris commented little cheers glasses. Katie Harris is one of the top ladies in all of Washington, D.C. She's great. She's married to Adam Riza, who is Port City's lead brewer. Also one of the greatest brewers in the world and my boss. But yeah, Katie and Adam, they're great. So shout out to them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think what I was getting at was that like I've been making pizza so much that I haven't been eating out pizza as much. If we're gonna have it, I'm gonna try to make it, and you know, I might make a dough 3 or 4 days in advance to be ready to cook and try to see how that turns out with that recipe in particular, with like a little more sugar, a little less sugar, a little more oil or less oil. You know, I've been tweaking the temperatures. My grill broke and I had to get a new controller for it. So it's like a new computer that's controlling all of the, you know, how to pull in the wood pellets and how to burn things. And that's been interesting, trying to learn new temperatures and things like that. But
how's the family feel about all that?
They love it.
Okay.
My kids are just like, we don't even want to go out for pizza anymore because like we have great pizza. And I think I do a pretty decent job where like, you know, I do a little bit of high moisture mozzarella, a little bit of low moisture shredded mozzarella, sometimes a little bit of cheddar. I do Fontina or, you know, Pecorino Romano is like a little shredded finishing cheese on top. You know, pepperoni, salami, depending on like what we're feeling for toppings. But like I've gotten it down to where like I'm trying to make myself the perfect cheese pizza, the perfect pepperoni pizza, and then I'll start expanding where I'm like, all right, this is like incredible pizza, and then I'll start doing things like this or that. But
right,
it's been a lot of fun. One thing that I figured out though is that at my old age of whatever I am, 34, 35, I'm not even sure. Jalapenos don't sit with me like they used to.
Mm.
I don't know if that's like happened to anybody else, but like I used to eat spicy foods. I used to eat jalapenos like it was nothing else. And then for some reason now, like whenever I eat actual jalapeno peppers, like as a topping on a pizza or as part of another dish, like it completely hurts my insides in the worst way. Maybe that's just like an old guy thing. I don't know. Yo, why you got super quiet, Mr. Steve? I couldn't hear you at all.
How about now?
Yes.
Okay. I just said I'm older than you and I can still eat a jalapeno.
It like surprises me sometimes. Like I made a pizza the other day with like my brother Nathan was down and I made him like he asked like I want jalapeno and this and that as a topping. So I did it for him. I made him like this awesome pizza and like we shared it. And then I was like, I woke up in the middle of the night with like severe stomach pains. And I was like, fuck it, jalapeno. What is Fish talking about? I should use American. Is he talking about cheese on pizza?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's being sarcastic.
I've tried a bunch of different pizzas and like the Italian blends that you see like in shredded bags and stuff. And I found this one low moisture mozzarella that just like to me had like the right amount of fat, the right amount of moisture, whatever. And it just when you bite into that pizza, you're like, this is so flavorful. This might be the cheese.
I need you to perfect like an Italian pork sandwich pizza.
Okay.
So get the Italian pork with the broccoli rabe and like some sharp provolone notes in there.
Yeah, I haven't done broccoli rabe, but Taylor will tell you that I make like a pretty mean roast pork, and I'll do like roast pork sandwiches. So like I'll do the pork up with like an Italian style instead of like a smoky style for like pulled pork, and we'll have sandwiches. And I usually do like a pesto aioli type thing.
Okay, I'm listening.
Some sharp prove and make like a delicious sandwich. But yeah, I
gotta
do a beer. I mean,
yeah, we gotta throw that on a pizza and we'll be jamming.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think, guys? Is it time to wrap it up?
Yeah, it's a Friday. It's a Thursday.
We all still got to get through tomorrow before the weekend.
Got one more day.
One more day. Well, John, thank you so much for hanging out, dude. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Hey, have me on anytime, guys. I always have a lot of fun.
Downtown. Like, I would love to just like meet up somewhere and bullshit for like an hour, have a couple beers, and just catch up on life. And
as soon as I get that vaccine, you guys are getting hugs. You know.
That's the move. That's the move.
Vaccine right. and then mouth kisses for everyone.
Right.
Well, Fish, Katie Harris, Jeremy, Evan, Brett, everybody that's been hanging in, Jose, everybody that's been hanging in and hanging with us. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting us. Look out for our podcast tomorrow. It'll be released on all podcast platforms. Look for MBN Network on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and you'll see our show go live tomorrow morning. Mr. Harahan, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Mr. Steve, you are the man. Thank you for everything that you do.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, we won't see you next week. So come hang out with us at Dark Wednesday. Hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving, but hopefully we will talk to you the week after that. Have a good evening. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Good night,
Thanks
everybody.
for having me. Peace.
Got it.